All set? All right, so first item on our agenda tonight is the July 7th, 2021 meeting minutes. First comment I had on the first page, more of a discussion item. The last paragraph talks about permit approvals from the ECB. In general, they give recommendations. ECB doesn't issue the approvals. I think that's on the 6th page also. I don't know what was stated or voted on for review. Page 3. 8th paragraph down. There's a supervisory action procedure. There was reusing the existing building. There will be no further action required. And then I should finish up with regard.
Tom, what do you got? Oh, wow, I know.
Further discussion, I will make a motion for approval as amended. Second, Tom. Further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next item on our agenda tonight is the Strauss special use permit and public hearing for the Strauss 83 Quick Meeting House Road for special use permit. At site address consisting of 33.6 acres. Tax account number 229.03-1-1, zone RA5. And this is a special use permit to be about the stable, correct? So I guess I understand that you've been doing this for a little while, and actually you bought it and the previous owners.
Correct. And the previous owners to that.
Earl, you made a mention.
Over 50 years in order.
You were there? Wow. You were the owner?
Nope.
Oh, you were riding there.
I have kids over there.
Oh, wow. Now that would have been before they sold that parcel to the middle school.
Wrong.
Okay, wow.
In this case, the light, you're looking to put up a sign.
Correct. Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay. Anything you'd like to add before we start going over the permit?
Nope.
So wrote a letter covering code section 260-51. Putting in there storage of the house, the horse trailers, riding lessons in the public. Size of the private property is 33 acres, which exceeds it. There is a principal single family dwelling on it. For the code section, this is houses, horses allowed is 22, current population is 17. Is that how many stalls you have?
No, I need 16 stalls.
So. And no plans to erect any additional buildings. Boundaries are stated to be 50 foot from the line, looking at that. What it's here to me when I look at the site plan. How would we look at this with regards to seeker?
I think we're probably under There's a provision in there, I can read it to you. Under the type 2 list, it deals with reuse of a residential or commercial structure or a structure containing mixed uses where the use is permitted, including by special use permit. So I think that's probably where we are because we aren't building anything. We're just using an existing structure, right? Yeah.
Looks like type 2 action in regards to secret. Does any of my fellow planning board members have any questions on the application or the forms? Now we'll open up the public hearing. If there's no questions at this time, I'll open the public hearing. And this is for the special use permit at 683 Portage Meeting House Road. Horse riding stables. And public wish to be heard. Fellow planning board members, I think this, in my eyes, this looks pretty cut and dry. I think one condition that we would have on here is the sign must be on the building code, sign regulations. That's very difficult, or especially with permits. I don't know if you had a chance to look at this, maybe take if you had a boilerplate for the special use permit.
I didn't actually prepare a resolution. I wasn't sure if we were gonna move this tonight. I did have a few questions. That's okay. One of the items on here deals with the basic goal with respect to setbacks. Which is, one is subsection E. 260-51 subsection E. It says that stable shall be located as specified in 260-8N. Which requires it to be, I believe, 150 feet from the property line. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that the case?
Yes, it
Is that far out? Okay, look, it's hard to tell on the map. I'm not a map guy. Our chairman is though. So that was one thing I saw. Structures 4 and 5 were another 50 off the line, so that's true, that's good. I don't see a scale on that map, so I can't really tell. And then the other one was the storage of manure needs to be at least 200 feet off the property line.
It is. It's everybody.
Okay. Other than that, nothing really popped out to me, Chairman. I think this is pretty straightforward. I think you'd be okay just moving it as you typically do with the more minor applications with a verbal move to approve.
Okay.
Unless we have any conditions.
I'll give public one more chance to speak on this application. Anybody on Zoom? No. I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Second, Merle. Further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So I think we would be looking at it would be a conditional approval, based on the sign. On this, meeting the sign code ordinance. For preliminary and final. Will any of my fellow planning board members feel comfortable making that motion? So moved. Do I hear a second? Second. Bruce, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Michelle, question? Next steps.
Okay, great, thank you very much. Just one note on the sign, I made sure it did meet town code. And I apologize because I just realized when I looked at my copies, I did not put the dimensions on the sign being posted on it, but it does meet the code.
It's just on pretty close, like, just to remind you, there are sections.
Okay, no,
Yeah, the sign is like, well.
Yeah.
old tires.
Yeah.
thank you very much, Will, you're welcome to stop by. It might have changed a little bit.
I bet it did.
Thank you very much,
Thank you all.
everybody.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time. Michelle, thank you very much.
All right, bye, Kim.
Next item on our agenda tonight is Fiore special use permit public hearing. For special use permit is 383 Town Road consisting of 27.87 acres. Tax account number 204.04-1-40.21, zone RA5. And this special use permit is for a for-profit special event. Yes, hello. Forgive me if I did not pronounce your name, Fiore,
Correct.
is that correct? All right. So we've had some back and forth with the office with this, we got something
Bless you.
recently, very recently here. This is- All right. Don, you had some discussions today, correct?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I can kind of summarize where I think we're at in terms of some of the outstanding stuff. So I had discussed this application with staff and with the chairman in terms of where it was at, in terms of satisfying the application requirements. There are some items that were potentially outstanding and that had been discussed with the applicant. I followed up directly with the applicant today. We spoke, I think via phone and email, we also corresponded that way. And as a result of that, we received some updates. So I'll just get to those real quick here. One of the updates, something that we've been asking for more recently, that isn't really detailed in our application requirements, is a detail on these special application or these special event permits detailing a response to each one of those lettered requirements in our code. Things like, traffic or parking, hours of operation, all those things we just went through with the application for the party at the bands and whatnot downtown, right? So I asked the applicant to provide that. The applicant did provide that today. I think it's provided to you paper material on your desk when you arrive. So that's helpful. We still got EPODs. And in the meantime, today, actually, the environmental review committee for the town sent us a note saying they looked at the application and didn't seem to have an issue relative to EPODs. So that's helpful. We also spoke about this minimum acreage requirement of 50 acres. I advised the applicant that that was not within the jurisdiction of planning board to determine the applicant's primary property is about 27 acres, and then there's an adjacent property of similar size that is also owned by the applicant. And the applicant's position or request is that we consider these properties together to satisfy the 50-acre requirement because they're contiguous and they're owned by the same entity or people. And again, I said, either you're gonna need a variance from the zoning board, or you need to code enforcement officers to make a determination on whether we can look at it that way. I spoke with Corey today, actually, just before the meeting, he called me. And he did actually agree that in this case, given that the parcels were contiguous and owned by the same owner, that he would, his determination would be that it qualifies it as a 50-acre site under this code and would not need a variance. Okay, so a lot of little things being checked off right before the meeting. I think that's mostly it. The applicant also provided their contract with the party that's having the ceremony at the property as sort of the response to the financial backing question, which I think is hopefully sufficient for the board, given what's being asked here, a one-time event at the property. So I think we could go down through the detailed lists of responses to our special use permit code and make determinations as to whether we feel that the responses are sufficient. Chairman, also, I looked at this, does look like, yeah, this is a type 2 action. Pursuant to 617/15C21. And that is, just read that so everyone knows.
What was that section? I'm sorry.
617.5C21. And that is, quote, minor temporary uses of land having negligible or no permanent impact on the and in this case, it's a one-time event for that one.
I guess my first question is, what, and forgive me if I overlooked this, what size is the levy?
I believe.
It's actually maxed out in the services contract. It's at 150. And just by the way, we're new to the area. We just purchased it. So I'm Johnson, you know it, Margaret. We're from Long Island.
I was born and raised here in Henrietta. My family is all still here. Maiden name is Marcia. My parents are still here alive. Six of my, well, now 5 siblings left here, and I can't even tell you how many cousins are still here. So we, come back from the homes that we own. The property's been dormant for over 2 years, as far as we know. We've already, since October, done a tremendous amount of work to revitalize the property, clean it up. And this woman came up to us, basically loved the land, and due to COVID, she was originally gonna have a wedding in her backyard, and then, I think around June, she came and asked us if she could have the wedding on our property, and not being from here, not knowing all the ins and outs of your town ordinances, we began to look at it, and we didn't think it was gonna be a problem. So we are here and we're trying to address all these issues you have given out. Well, welcome home.
So, 150 people. Looking at the site plan, I don't see any tents or anything on here. Where is the ceremony? Is
So
it in
we-
the home?
No, you see where the house is? There's a house in front of a black dotted mark. That is a driveway that moves all the way around, and in front of it is a big X. The tent was going over there towards the right.
Okay, so there's a big open field on the south side of the circle. And so Brian, everything is outdoors. And restroom trailers, they're supplying room, drinking water, supplying great water. As we outlined, everything's being handled by external third-party caterers, so security insurance from them, and liquor licenses from them, and so on and so forth.
Caterers is our Melvin, own caterers.
Is that in a neighborhood?
Yes. So that's who she's using, and they're just waiting, we sent in.
So
Their CIOs, yeah, we're just waiting on the liquor license, so,
So they're providing liquor also.
I mean, yes, they're providing everything, we're just offered them, providing the land.
Do you live on the premises? Do you live in the home?
Sometimes, I have multiple homes, my main address is Long Island.
Will they have the use of the pool?
Do you have use of the pool?
Will they have use of party?
No, not during the party. No, it's actually a key coded. You cannot get into the pool without key coded,
Okay.
key code entrance. The pool house is locked at all times. And we
So-
just updated the fence, so the fence is,
finally in compliance as opposed to the 2 fence. Those around it, only one.
we have a nice fence around that, it's key coded.
You plan on utilizing both parcels in some fashion, or is it just on the one parcel?
Just on the one parcel, and it's really those 3 acres back. And then, those 3 acres include what we outlined as the parking area, the separate parking area. It's obviously one of our concerns with the big fields. Is making sure that the cars are parked away from where the reception tent is, where the people feed. So we're going to drive coming down the parking. So this is the parking.
This is a one-time event?
Yes.
Will you have an entrance and an exit?
Yes, our driveway is a horseshoe driveway, but they will enter, we'll make sure there's signs that say enter and exit.
Yeah, so earlier in our documentation, there's a specific traffic pattern, because as you guys are familiar with, we are, it's like we're crest up. So, our one entrance, if you take a left-hand turn into, if you take a southern turn into the, people can't see what's coming over the hill. So we have one entrance, and then we can hold up to 60 to 70 cars in our driveway, up and around through to where the rally station would be. So we should minimize any impact on traffic on the road, because that housing is.
I know the property.
It seems like a lot of the properties.
That's
And notice exhibit A, got parking up to 200 golden cars.
Right, that's just, what, you have the code in there that every acre, you have to provide 5, only having 150 people, so, to be honest with you, I can go up to 300 cars, because people just expand. It's just a big field on the west-hand side.
There'll be somebody parking the cars, directing them.
There will have somebody directing the cars, and directing the traffic flow through as well.
And the home part can be difficult when there's lines.
We're not going to have a valet parking.
No, well, we're gonna have other people kind of directing it. We don't know how many, if we don't have like 80 cars.
She has 100 people who figure in 50 cars.
Right. I'm just thinking, we had a wedding on our property, we had valet. People just drove up, they got on their car, valet took their car, parked it for them. And then the valet got their car back for them, and out they went. It worked really, really well, so people weren't trying to figure out where to park, how to park, high heels, if it was raining, we didn't know, it's like, this is outside, right? It was ours too, so, yeah, so the valet actually worked out really well.
Well, she has an option to get a valet if she'd like. I'm just basically looking at it as I'm renting my land And she, she's providing the services she wants, so, I'll be on site.
So basically, we provided our own ownership staff to make sure they're handling traffic plan. We also have, this is the fire chief, Corey Truitt from the Honolulu Village Fire Department. These are caretakers, they'll be on site.
So he's staff, not a guest, right?
He's
Or,
staff.
no, he's
Yeah,
good, yeah.
Yeah, you better not be a guest for it.
But you're renting land, you have said, and Nolan Caterers is provided by the wedding party.
Yes,
In the venue services agreement, it spells out exactly what we would provide, what we are not providing. Because we have well water, so they have to provide that. We don't provide. There's other stipulations in the venue services.
so Earl, if you're familiar with the property, do you remember when they filled the previous owners filled in section of it for tennis courts? Yeah, that's why the land has been raised up, we can figure out why we get this even,
Big plateau, big flat plateau.
we found
Right,
out.
there, right next to the orchard. And then we've got plans in the house.
Yeah. So that area was raised up, and it's completely flat now.
You said you have 3 on-site ownership staff members
Yes,
for
Plus, yeah,
conduct.
yes.
plus Corey, which is full.
Any training on the security? Just
We don't suspect we're gonna have.
She doesn't even have a, I'm sorry, she doesn't even have a wedding party. It's just her, her husband, and maid of honor.
No chicken fights in the pool.
Yeah.
who is providing the music?
They are. I believe she's getting this CO,
So,
they're not here yet, they should be. I was on the phone with her today.
That can sound travels.
yeah, now we're only providing so much amperage.
And they're, they know they, we have their 10:30. Mrs. Scott's at 10:30.
Anybody from the fire department can contact anybody so we bought the property to see.
Other than Corey, no, because he's a caretaker, we figured once we got all the information back from you guys, and what the task concerns might be addressed, then, we have Corey take it, because it's not his firehouse, it's the firehouse.
Then, he's assistant chief and I call.
Yeah.
No, I don't just want to price here.
And if you know that, our big concern is firefighting is so far away because the kind of work. So, Corey says, we tanker trucks and stuff like that. So that's why we were resting up going after, putting in kind of perimeter gravel drives so that if there is anything that happens, at least we have sunlight. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's a version EMP.
Right.
Something along those lines. sure that that's clear, you know, he's talking about the parking driveway wide enough.
Yeah, if it's like all the cars walk the driveway. And nothing from the event activities are gonna be anywhere near the driveway. So all the pedestrian traffic is as far as. Professionally, my license does actually, so we're very listening.
There was in the write-up, there was a discussion of the bride and eight guests staying in there.
Yes.
I thought I saw in the general agreement, capacity of 15.
Oh, and yeah, our house sleeps 15, but they're all gonna have to be payments.
So planning board members, any questions? Tim, got through it all yet? He says one day?
The event is one day, yes.
Yeah, so they set up, because you haven't,
They set it on Friday, take down on Sunday.
you have two night rentals.
Anthony,
Yeah, so it's the night before the wedding, and the night after the wedding.
this, you know, through the power of Google, searching for this, I found a website that advertised this is an event center. Weddings, wedding breakfast, total, come and rent the property for your event. Yes, I guess that, I found that curious.
Well, that's what our long-term intent is, so we have to work through all of our licensing, because ideally what we're trying to, we will be coming back to the planning board. We might have to go to the zoning board as well, but we're looking for that state farm winery license, the vineyard, aspects like that. So that's kind of the long-term aspect, but you know, as my wife Margaret said, we did so much to improve the property and upkeep and whatnot, so the driver's interested in it. And so, you know, it would be good to kind of test out the traffic plan, test out what we intend to do with parking, and aspects like that.
There is nothing on the books going forward. This is just somebody that came up to us.
Yeah, because if you go further on the site, it says to be completed.
It takes a while to get your site working. And that's not helping us. Long process.
No planning board members, if you're going through. We just got it.
And we're happy to address any concerns that you guys have, actually, we'd like to get your input, because that we have to consider, since you guys know the area, know the traffic pattern, know what others have done, and some challenges with people.
we do on these a lot of times is get the fire department involved at the early stage. Where the fence are. Side ups, food, anything along those lines, come up with, emergency access, emergency egress.
And that's why Corey has been, walking us through this.
So, Fred, to actually, we're prepared to go straight to fire department. That's one of the conditions, obviously, we have to notify.
Well, I think usually typically we coordinate that review with the fire department, with the fire marshal that will sign off on it.
You said you'll have parking, it's like parking, yeah?
Yeah.
Directing where parking.
Parking is, now we will not park in them,
No, it's part of the intent.
yes.
Seems to be a little wetter than normal this year, you're parking on grass, some kind of provision, you have to back out.
Yeah, so we're having the hay spread out on the parking field, so that it's really moist.
So you plan on mowing the area,
Oh, yeah, the area is mowed.
Yeah.
It's just, probably take a look at like the extended part, that's not mowed, but that one that we're identifying as permanent, that's inside the gravel drive, that one gets mowed. Those are cuts down on the deer. Close to the house. We love deer.
Not to be able to beat them all.
And I hope there's some dry weather, so we'll stay. We think that,
How do we look at this when with the special use permit? When other third parties are bringing in catering and liquor.
So I think we still want to get the liquor license. In terms of. Let's see, for where that is on the plan here. I think we could, if we want to get whatever their contract is with Nolan, we could ask them that.
It's,
no, we don't have,
we don't have the liquor license, it's 17 days from the time they apply. We get the liquor license in the state of New York. So they're waiting on that.
Okay. Well, I think you could condition approval on getting a liquor license. So conditions of approval could be providing the contract with Nolan's, providing the liquor license. Providing anything we need from EMS. Which you said you'd be able to get. Yeah.
Quarter truer, it's like caretaker, and that's like, please, and that's certified.
Yeah, I'd like to see Corey set something up with somebody from the fire department, just to get them up there and walk the property. You know, so they can provide us with a statement saying, they reviewed the accessibility plan. So Corey should be able to.
Yeah.
Do those.
We also want to see fence locations, where are these bathroom trailers from,
You want, right, you want the fire department to see it, or you're saying?
on a site plan, yeah,
Okay, just wanna make sure.
yeah, on the site plan, we want to see
Bedrooms?
fence, bathrooms, restrooms. I'm assuming, am I correct, that most, everything would be under the time, the van, the food?
Yes. Actually, there's a,
There's a separate
there's
kitchen.
a separate, you have this, section, it's on the very last page, under the certificate.
That's on the section.
What is the section?
It doesn't include the kitchen tent separate,
Kitchen tent separate, but it's,
and the reception tent.
DJ's on.
Are they preparing food there, or are they just?
No, we're not boxes.
Hot boxes?
So it's food and all that stuff separate from the reception. Anything that does happen over there.
Alright, so planning board members. Feel comfortable with the information provided? We're looking for more information.
Yeah, you know, conditional on everything we discussed.
Everything, yeah, it'll take us a little time to weed through this, as we have. Looking for any additional information.
As an alternate, leave and drive. If there's problems are upset with, you know, the mud and everything, you have an alternate plan, possibly have it carved out.
Yeah, yeah, correct. So we can park them on it, and we can park them all the way up to Brown Road, about 2,000 feet that goes all the way to the back of the property. It's a gravel road, goes all the way to the back of the property, so we could park them on that, and that's all downhill. So that's where, well, if you know, the big tower, what they had, so just head up there. So there's a gravel road that goes up there, we park that straight on the road. And take it all. And let you share the plans. That's alternative.
Parking.
Yeah. Yeah, and that, Chris, that would keep all the cars away from where the reception tent is. And actually, sort of drive to that EMS or fire department has full access.
And so what I'm looking at here is talk about showing on-site plan times, refuse location, bathroom location, alternative parking. We talked about Nolan, COI, and liquor license being provided. Kind company COI, and what company it is.
It's Nolan, I'm sorry, Brett, it's Nolan. I think we did provide COIs.
No, I think we just had a copy of it. It wasn't with our.
Dan did, oh,
It wasn't.
oh, it did, I thought you sent it to, no, I'm sorry, I thought you received it.
So what kind of company are you looking at?
Nolan is doing everything,
Everything.
tent, liquor, food, utensils, everything up for these.
Because that would also need to be inspected by code.
What do you mean by that?
It's a temporary structure that these got to be coordinated with. To be brought in to inspect it and make sure that it all meets.
Right.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay, oh, and accessibility plan. This, part. Okay, so fellow planning board members, you have all the information that you're looking for. You're comfortable with that, having reviewed it today. You're all comfortable with us opening up a public hearing. Is that a wink, yes?
That's a week, yes.
Okay. Donna, am I missing anything here that we should be looking for?
Just those items that we mentioned should be conditions. Or you said you'd be sending an email with this determination, although again, I confirmed it via phone today. We've got our EPOD letter. Not sure if there's anything else. Secrets of type 2.
So at this time, we'll open up the public hearing for special use permit at 383 Pond Road. And public wish to be heard. Keep that open. Now, one thing also to talk about is music. What we've done on events in the past is periodic checks. Whoever's the band, whoever's setting that up, they should be checking their speakers, making sure that it's not exceeding. Doing spot checks, especially during the sound check.
There's kind of size on, probably whether it's.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't have those drop downs.
You're gonna get deer in there.
We ain't got the cares, guys.
Hope you're. I've done a lot of talking. Thank you, brother. Okay.
Anything we did with, parking, so, food, traffic control.
Do we need temporary signs?
Well, yeah, we're actually had, because we're gonna put temporary signs up for entrance, so that they know that that's the event entrance and where the parking is. And we're gonna barricade off that one part of the circle drive that's gonna be the exit.
In a chain that actually goes across.
But it'll be a large barricade that will be lighted, so that they don't come in one way, and then we want them exiting on the west side, which is where the parking is. We don't want them driving over our drunk guests and our equipment is not trying to slow down.
Well,
Yeah. I think the deer are chasing.
That's the free house staff, right?
Yes.
Plus Cory True. It was also the EMT outside. You know, I think what we did have, Chris, is we did have a very simple security description in the past. Very simple, what times, dates, be there. This is, you know, this is the experience and that was really about it.
Yeah, because we don't want security intrusive, we don't want security carrying, you know, any firearms, we don't want that type of security.
Well, what I thought most helpful with was the ones in the past was keeping people moving with traffic. People stop in the middle of roads, especially the rural roads, people get moved.
Yeah, you know, ours, I think on our road, it's 55, the speed limit is 55, so we want to get them immediately off the road, so that's why we're actually trying to get them to move the right hand turn in, but not allow them to make a left hand turn across. So we're not allowing them to come eastbound, and take the left hand turn into our southern on the road, property. So,
So if they're coming from that direction, are they gonna turn around someplace?
yes, we don't move down, and
Turn around and go to the left.
So, because we can't even tell who's gonna come over that. At 55, and you're not coming at 55.
If they're going at 65.
65 cells.
Yeah.
So,
Mailbox right out there, go out there. No one's gonna get put there.
Yeah.
That really should be.
I think the security thing is more about a public facing event, and this isn't a public facing event, right? You're not having random people show up, it's
True.
everybody's a known entity.
Well, and I think it is also addressed in here on this. What we got from and the addendum to the planning board application.
Mhm. Right,
Now, I do have one question. This one. So if you're have events in the future, each is a new special event permit. And just because we've approved this one with these guidelines does not mean that we will approve a future event using the same guidelines, correct?
and this is just for this date.
This is just for this venue.
you know, one time with these factors.
You know how I am about setting precedents. That's my big way, well,
Yeah, it's that.
I don't wanna set any precedents here.
Right, just thinking my toe in that pool myself.
Uh-huh.
You got everything mic'd up that?
You know. And we literally just got this at what, 5:30 today?
All right, once again, give the public any chance to be heard. That's possible, closing the public hearing, I'll make the motion. Earl, you second it? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. So how do you want to move forward with this? It's gonna be fairly involved, if I'm not mistaken, on the determination, correct?
How do you mean?
It's not as simple, it's not a simple motion, so moved. I have not heard anything from the planning board that's looking towards negatives.
I mean, so you could move it with some of the conditions we talked about tonight verbally. Or I could put together a written resolution that we could move at the next meeting. Which is what, September first, which I will not be here in person for, I'll be over Zoom. But I'll provide you the resolution as that's the direction we want to go. And
You'll be able to provide all that information by then.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
We have about a 5-point checklist you gave us. I have it in front of me.
Yeah.
Or the fire department. Site map.
Yeah, I think it would be very involved in it, don't see it.
Now, let me start to ask you, so no one needs to arrange the tenth inspection. How, no one has to contact you guys, or how do you do? Okay. Okay, okay.
Maybe you said the 10th.
yeah, they're gonna set up Thursday. So they'll set up Thursday and, you know,
Inspect it, right.
And I think that's a great idea too, because of the accessibility plan. Fire department.
do you want to go that route then, and that way there, we can have something typed up that
Yeah,
considers everything out that we received today,
yeah, I think that would be,
because it doesn't put you in a bad spot, you're not, so the
No.
11th, we know all the issues.
Or, you know, or he's on vacation, we'll come back to one property, get the site map. Alternative parking, you know what that is, or inspection.
yeah,
You said-
so show on the site plan where the tents are gonna be, where the refuse is gonna be, bathrooms, and then parking.
So we're gonna update the site plan, correct? So all the stuff we asked for with the no ones, the updated site plan, the liquor license. When you get that stuff in, you can send it to Brett.
Send it right to Michelle, yeah.
Yeah,
Send it to
CCS.
Mhm.
Or you just forward it to me, they can't CCS, but you have my email too.
Yes.
And then I can draft the resolution accordingly.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I think updated site plan will fall right in with the accessibility.
got the fire department. We need to see that.
Yeah.
And then how it is.
Okay. So that be scheduled for, kind of the schedule on the first, so we'll get that information. Here we go.
That won't be a carry-on of the public hearing, that's just,
I don't see any reason to carry on the public hearing. I
Okay.
closed it, so.
yeah, I just want to make sure I wasn't having to reopen or read.
All good?
You,
All right, thank you. I'll talk to you.
If we could have the information
Yeah, sooner than later.
prior to the meeting.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
at least a week and a half
Next
time.
week or so.
Yeah,
The Corey's on vacation, so.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thanks.
well, other than this one that says around 818 at the top, I'm not positive which line, so I'm just thinking about this.
Okay.
Next item on their agenda is public comment or discussion.
Public comment.
Public comment, the public wish to be heard. General discussion, I'm not 100% positive I'm gonna be here on September 1st. I'm in conflict with work. Okay. I've also petitioned the town board, specifically with this type of application. About, this makes me very nervous.
Why not?
This is advertised.
Yeah.
As a winery.
Do you know what, I almost came out and said, oh, so this woman approached you from your website? Like, I don't like when people try to, well, she just asked us, she made it sound like they lived in the house.
And
Or like the neighbor came over and asked if they could like have their daughter's wedding there. It wasn't like that at all.
It advertises that breakfast
Uh-huh.
in the winery. Or makes me very.
For the record, October 20, I was invited over that, with my price and snow plowing, they're in the area now, because there were people from New York, who were turning into a bed and breakfast and a party house.
Yeah.
Really, in October.
Yeah.
And in order to have a bed and breakfast, somebody has to live on site.
That's easily, that's easily taken care of. This makes me very nervous. But very nervous.
This is what we have to live with.
But this is, and this is a petition of the town board that we need to look at this, and especially under the guise of a winery, it falls to ag markets if we do not define a winery and a winery event center or something along those lines.
There's no.
They end up here on
wine.
such short notice, you know? I mean, obviously they've been planning this wedding for more than 2 weeks. So how is it that they didn't come to us before? Do you know like how they ended up here? Did someone
I
tell
don't
them?
think I don't think they thought it was this involved to have a wedding, so.
Right.
Because,
Originally,
but
they
then how
said
did,
it
what
was,
happened that made them think that they had to? Like,
Well, they came in and asked for the permit to have a wedding, and we were questioning, what are you doing? This, oh, that's a for profit.
it was a family wedding, and, oh no, it's,
for
we're
profit,
charging.
oh yeah.
And I just. A lot of open space.
Sure.
And it's, and I think, Tommy made an excellent question, is, or excellent point. In that code, we need to make that a little bit more bulletproof.
Speaking of the code, either town should be looking at a fill permit, like material used for fill on different sites. At this point, anybody can dump anything they want this time. But
How are other towns?
fill permits,
Some require fill permits.
second,
Some do require fill permits.
yes.
For me, the issue is whether there needs to be or is, and I would look into this, a permanent permit for a place like an event center. I'd have to look in the code to see if there's something like that. I only have been looking at this from the temporary standpoint.
I think something like, having a winery, which we did with some houses, is different than having a party center in the middle of a residential usage. I think you said that you had one a few years ago on 64, correct?
Yeah, house,
DRDL.
Yeah.
Advertised, having a party here.
and the owners were from Warm City, Utah. They issued the sheriff in Warm City, Utah issued the court order.
It's a delicate balance between homeowners' rights and zoning code.
What was it?
And we need to tighten up.
Well-
My
So my suggestion is to take this right out of the special use permit part, residential zone. Leave it in here for something like what Hillary did down there. Then in 64. The perfect zone for it, it's in a business district, take it right out of residential.
business district, yep. Three.
Right, that would be one way to deal with it.
And Tom, you petitioned the town board also, have you not?
No, I think, we have had a discussion.
Your code would be 2 pages. House is okay, everything else.
You know the NP section? That'd be about 400.
All right. Upcoming meeting info. No, looks like we're gonna have September 1st meeting.
Yep, just now.
Just, and then Shelley, you gave us a couple more for.
Yeah, you- Got 3 site plans coming in on September 15th.
I saw a couple of my favorite ones, accessory buildings in front,
Yeah, 2 of those.
one in a very nice binder.
That was Adam Schellenberger, and he was very prepared. Yes, yes. He's got my favorite applicant star right now. Yes.
Can't be showing any favoritism.
There was a property at the corner there about Baker Meat House, and she's been great. I see it's come to a standstill.
They are back building again, but they're only allowed to go with the house right now until the barn gets more approvals. So they will be back for the barn. Yep.
It's like a Broadway. It looks good. You could clean up, made up clean in there.
And I think there's another Pond Road application on 15. Which is Pond Road. The Harder, Mr. Harcher.
Scott Harter.
That's going to the HPC, or are they waiting for us to send it to them?
I believe we already have response back from them. It might be, oh, not SHPO, no.
We haven't sent, he wanted to go visit for the preservation.
He put something in his application about that. It might have been from SHPO.
From SHPO, they put it in SHPO, but. It's not been done a little
Scott Berger?
bit. Yes, needs to come back. And I talked to Corey about this. Corey asked me what my opinion was on this. And I said, this is a difficult site. It's not an easy site, so therefore he needs to come in for preliminary. And once we're satisfied that we have everything that we need, we'll send it on to the HPC for their comments. Because they were trying to get their comments so they can come in for a one and done meeting.
Is there a historic structure within
Yes.
500 feet?
Yes. Is it?
That's what I heard.
Is this the Pahominy Ridge one? What's, I don't remember.
How many grades?
Finger Roth. Where's it, who's the owner? I think it's that one.
Oh, yeah, it's not even showing.
This is one for September 15th.
Yeah.
Is, and is this going to the ECB?
Yes, ECB has all 3 site plans in their box that they will look at on September, whatever, 2nd, maybe. For the meeting.
Oh, yeah, you've got to know that.
Yeah, okay.
But that doesn't, it's,
I know I seen something about it.
I know I'm not the code enforcement officer, but our code is what gives our historical preservation commission the power to review.
Okay. So I'm not sending it right now. I'm waiting. Okay.
I wanna make sure that we are comfortable with planning as well.
Because we state that adjacent to Whitcomb Cobblestone House, which is listed in state national register.
That's historic, it's- no. It's not in our local register. But in our code, it gives that 500-foot buffer.
Right.
Maximum 500-foot buffer.
Correct. Real that?
Every time I can't sleep. You guys started hearing me talking yet?
I am.
Let's make the motion.
Me,
Who would like the second?
me.
Second for Tom. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
So Michelle, I'll send you the resolution